Well, hello there. I'm Michelle Snyder, if you don't know me, and today we're going to be talking about the things that we commit ourselves to do. If you're like me, you often take on responsibilities that God never intended for you to have. One of the greatest challenges for the Christian life is determining what God does not want us to do. So when I was reading this out of Experiencing God, it's a daily devotional, it really spoke to my heart because I broke my leg in July, my kneecap actually, and I have been stopped short. And as a result, God has been talking to me about slowing down. Incidentally, I was running at the time the accident occurred. And so that just gave it double meaning. And so oftentimes, as believers in Jesus, our intentions are admirable, right? We love God and we love his people. And we see many needs. I'm sure you do as much as I do. You just look out and you see so many needs that it's sometimes overwhelming. But could it be that sometimes our good intentions cause more harm than good? Just something to think about. The author of this devotional, Henry, I don't know if it was Henry or Richard, it's one of them, Blackaby, said that Moses took it upon himself to try to meet the needs of long lines. I'm talking really long lines, if you know the story, of unhappy people. And he spent day after day after day carrying the weight of his nation's problems on his shoulders. And finally, his father-in-law saw what Moses was trying to do, and he challenged the wisdom of Moses's actions. Because you see, Moses was taking on way more than he could handle. And I could really identify with that because that's where I find myself all the time. So, in doing this service, Moses was robbing others of an opportunity to serve the Lord as well. Moses was actually doing a disservice to his people, people who otherwise could have had their issues resolved much sooner. Because why? Because they were standing in line, waiting their turn. And we need to share the joy of serving others, friends. I hate to disappoint you, but you are not the end all be all. God has lots and lots of servants out there, and He will lay what He wants onto each person's shoulders. So, why do I mention this? Well, when you and I become aware of a need, we should not automatically assume that God wants us to take care of it. I think that is really typical of firstborns. Now, not necessarily, not always, but firstborn children have that idea, like I do, that we've got to fix everything. We have to fix everything that goes wrong. And you know that's not realistic at all. Actually, the only reason we should perform a certain kind of ministry is that God has clearly told us that that's His will for our life. I read somewhere just recently that we should wake up in the morning and the first words out of our mouth should be, God, what can I do to please you today? Not to please myself, not to please all those people out there, but Lord, what can I do to please you? So if you're feeling overwhelmed by all that you're doing, you're probably, I'm going to say it, you're probably doing more than God has asked you to do. So pray carefully about the assignments that you take on, the callings that you take on. If it's a calling from God, it will provide so much energy. You will not be burned out because He will provide what He has called you to do. So I'm pleading with you not to rob yourself and others of God's very best. Think about this. Where do you fit here on this spectrum? Have a good day.